we're going to look at, would there be a gap between the rapture and and then the beginning of the tribulation, or they are just going to immediately after the rapture, the tribulation will just set in. That is what we are going to look at. And why, if there's a gap, why should there be a gap between the rapture and then the beginning of the tribulation? We know that if we look at the book of Revelation, it has been divided into three. The chapter 1 talks of things that has happened and it has gone. That is things which are the things that Christ has done, and then the things which are now the church. That is chapter 2 and then chapter 3. So as we are now, we are in chapter 2 and chapter 3 of Revelation. But beginning from chapter 4 throughout, that is where the end times comes. That is what we call the future. So what we are saying is that immediately the church, as we are in the chapter 2 and chapter 3 of Revelation, when the church age ends at chapter 3, the church will be raptured. The church will be taken. That is what we call the rapture. So if the church is raptured, immediately after the rapture, will the tribulation just set in? Will the tribulation, the 7 years that are coming, the 7 years tribulation, will it just set in, or will there be a gap? That will there be a gap between the two of them? That is what we are going to look at. Let us read Revelation chapter number 4, verses 4. It reads this way. It says, surrounding the throne were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold and on their heads. So I think the other tip I made us to understand that these 24 elders in the throne, sitting around the throne of God, that is in heaven. Remember that this scene is seen in heaven. It is a scene that John saw in heaven. It's a scene in heaven. If you read the Revelation chapter 4, verses 1, you see that John was taken up to see things in heaven. So this was the throne of God, and he was seeing the 24 elders sitting on thrones. And the other time I made us to understand there were some 9 facts to prove that these 24 elders are the church. Either they are symbolic of the whole church, or they are actual 24 people being chosen from the church. So here we have already seen the church in heaven. So the church is not raptured in chapter 4. The church is already in heaven when John saw it. So the church has ended, because we said chapter 2 and 3 of Revelation is the church age. So when the church age ends, that is where the rapture will be taken. So John here is seeing the church already in heaven. It is not that it is going, it is already in heaven. So in chapter 4, the church is already in heaven, because if you haven't listened to that tape, you can go and listen to it. The facts to show that the 24 elders is the church, but it is not angels, or maybe others always say 12 tribes of Israel and then the 12 apostles. If you haven't listened to that one, you can go and listen to it. Good. So it means the church is being raptured before chapter 4. So chapter 4 is the church is not there again. Beginning from chapter 4, the church is already in heaven. That's why John saw the church to be in heaven, surrounding the throne of God. Good. So if you look at chapter 4, and then and chapter 5, you see that there are some activities that are taking place. The chapter 4, if you are reading it coming down, you see that there are some activities, the rewards given to believers. Those who qualify for they're giving them crowns and giving them white garments, as it is promised in Revelation to be given to believers. So you see those activities there, and you move to chapter 5 again, and you see another activity there. But upon all these things, the Antichrist has not yet revealed yet, and we know that the tribulation will begin immediately the Antichrist reveal. But if you see chapter 4 and chapter 5, the Antichrist has not yet showed up. So it means it is likelihood that there will be a gap. Maybe it can be years. Some even believe that there will be 3.5 years gap between the rapture and then the beginning of the tribulation. Because if you look at, there are activities that are going on in chapter 4, and there are activities that are going on in chapter 5. Meanwhile, in these two chapters, the Antichrist hasn't revealed yet. meaning immediately after the rapture, the tribulation may not set in. There may be a gap before the Antichrist will reveal in. Good. The Antichrist now came in chapter 6. Let us read chapter 6, where the Antichrist will now come in, where we begin to see the Antichrist. Chapter 6, verses 1 and 2. I read. Revelation. We are in Revelation. I watch, and the lamp opened the first seal, the first of the seven seals. Then I heard a voice of the four living creatures say in a voice like thunder, Come! I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bowl, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror, bent on conquest. So you see, that is the Antichrist, the hypocrite, being a wolf, but in a sheep clothing, pretending that he is the Messiah. He is coming to bring peace to the world, bring peace to the Middle East, bring peace to Israel. So this is where the Antichrist will begin to set in, and that is where the peace treaty, he will sign the peace treaty. That is Daniel chapter number 9, verse 27. We'll read it. So this is where the Antichrist now reveal, and this is the beginning of the tribulation. So it means Revelation chapter 4, Revelation chapter 5, the church has been taken, but within these two chapters, the tribulation has not yet started. So if you look at them, if you compare facts and look at this analogy, you realize that after the rapture, the tribulation may not just set in, because some things have to lead to other things. There will be at some activities that will lead to the revealing of the Antichrist, and that one is another tip. You can go and listen to that one. That one is so, it's also the activities that will take place within the gap between the rapture and that of the tribulation. What are the activities that will take place between the rapture and then the tribulation? So go and listen to that one. So what we are saying is that after the rapture, there will be some activities that will lead to the revealing of the Antichrist. So immediately after the rapture, don't think that the Antichrist will just come on the scene that, okay, I am the savior. If he just come like that, definitely people will know that, oh, this is what the Bible was saying, or sorry, this is what the Bible said. So there will be some activities that will lead to put him on top, so that it will look like he is truly the person who is coming to solve the world problem. Meanwhile, he's having his own agenda. So what we are saying simply is that the gap, there will be a gap. Some even said 3.5 years, but the Bible didn't specifically say. But some are putting, if you put facts together, you realize that there will be a gap. Let us read here Daniel chapter number 9, verses 27. Daniel chapter number 9, verses 27. You see, when he signed the peace treaty, that is where the tribulation will begin, and that is where he will now reveal himself, that he is going to bring peace. Good. I read. It goes this way, 27. He will confirm a covenant, that is the peace treaty, that he is going to bring peace. So he will confirm a peace covenant with who? With Israel. Good, let's continue. A peace covenant with many for 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 1 7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice. So he will sign a peace treaty that he is bringing peace with the world, to bring peace to the world. He will solve the world problem. And in the middle of it, that is 3.5 years time, he will break it, and that is where Jesus called it what? Great tribulation. The middle, this from the second half going, is now at the great tribulation, because that is where the more much pain will now come. But the first one, he will deceive and give some fake peace. There will be some counterfeit peace for the first 3.5 years. So the first 3.5 years will be counterfeit peace, but in the middle of the 7 years, so the second 3.5, that is where pains will now begin. Good. So in conclusion, what I want us to understand is that there is a gap between the rapture and that of the tribulation. Where the rapture will be taken, the tribulation will not just set in at once. Something have to happen, and that will lead to the revealing of the Antichrist. Something will happen, some activities will happen that will lead to the reveal of the Antichrist. Thank you for your time. May the Lord be with you. If you haven't subscribed, you subscribe, share it, and then if you have any comment, you can comment. Any question, you can ask at the comment section, so that we will help each other to understand the Bible, because this channel is all about what facts, Bible facts, and that of end times events that we are discussing here. So you can share it, and you can also ask, or you can add your view about the point. Thank you. May God